This video will show how to get the connection string from your ASP.NET project application when you have a typical system like this one, an IIS server, Internet Information Server, which wants to connect with its ASP.NET application, connect to the SQL database server. So the system is when you have a ASP.NET application and the user goes over the app to your IIS, and the IIS needs some data from the SQL, then it has to read that stuff. Okay, so we have here a typical small example. This is DB. It's a test ASP.NET ASPX in C# written in a web. It's a web form. Okay, what you have to do is you have to implement here this using system SQL client. This is for reading the data, and then you have to for getting the settings, you have to implement system web configuration, and then you go there. First you say, okay, make a string, connection string, or read the string by web configuration manager. That's the handler which reads the file, and then connection string and the name. In the web config you have here, let's change this one. There's a big block, this one, and in the connection strings you have to add a name, one big block with this identical name, database connection in this case, and there's here the connection string for SQL Express. When you have this this example, then you have the IIS and the SQL Server Express usually quite often, so you may have this one on a Windows web server, for example. Then this is without charge, this for free, and this is for free. So so normally you have those connections on your web server, Windows Server 2012 in this case. And now go on there. Then in this case you have SQL Express, and the initial catalog is the database, and there's integrated security, which is true. So when you're here on your database on this system, you don't want when the web server is running, the web server may contact by itself the data from the SQL server, and you don't have to log in. So that's the integrated authentication system. Now go on there. So back there, here's the connection string. We have here the internal, this is the definition of the connection string, and then we have here in our small demonstration on the page load, I ask this, get the string, give me the string of the name, and there the connection string, that's the internal stuff. And we have here, we're loading with this string a SQL connection, and the SQL connection is here is a SQL client, and the client will be loaded by the connection. So now we start here. Now when I started on my local system, at the moment I'm at my local system is running, and when you have a look on this small sign, this is a IIS Express when you're working on the local system, and Shift F9. Now we have here on our supervising stuff and our watch, there's the connection. This is the connection. I started the system. The system had read the connection string. This is the connection string, what we saw there. That's the connection string, and this implements the provider name of the SQL client. So there's also written what is the which database type is it, in this type the SQL server. And now when I start it, we have here the connection state. This one is closed, and when I start with F10 going over, then you will see the connection opens, and now we are able to switch this stuff to the to the further hand dealing, so the SQL client, and get a table and all that stuff. Okay. Now when you copy this file, this small stuff, test stuff, to your web server, now I go switch to my web server, when I have the same system there, and then when we go in default, we have when we are testing on our running system, on that entire system, then when we start the stuff and debugging on by default, then we are at the IIS Express there. So that's it here. Then we have this situation, we come in here, and then we have here the IIS Express. That's a local host with its local rights, and it's not done by the external. It's not coming from the user. It's coming only local. So we are in a protected area. We have the IIS and the SQL server in the background. And now when we start the same stuff, where is it? Here. Now when we are in the SQL Express, then we are in the protected area. When we go to the local IIS, then we have this situation that we open this stuff and the IIS listens on contacts from the outside, and when we do the same stuff there, here, we switch now to the local IIS and do the same thing there. Now first we are checking it at the default. That's default, and we're running it, and you will see system works. Needs a bit time. Where's it? Didn't go there where I want. It's not still running. It's on the DB test. I didn't switch a breakpoint. So when there's no breakpoint, nothing happens. Okay, because there's no there was no message or anything like this. Now I'm starting, and I'm still at my remote system. It's an online system. Now this one is closed, and as soon as I get here one step further, then you will see it works. Okay, so this was testing on our web server, and now one further point will be, now my system goes to the database, which is also on that system, and now we switch our system here. When we go now, we switch now to the real system, the external dealer, and go the same stuff, then you will see that it breaks there. I don't have to take this one. Contacting the web server. This is the real server now, and now it will break because This one is still closed, and now it says, okay, an exception happened, okay, and I could not connect the login to that site because there's something missing. And now let's continue there. That's what you will see on your browser. The browser says, okay, there's this login, the network service is missing, an authority on there, and now when we go to our SQL server, what you have to do then is you have to extend your permissions onto the SQL database, because on that point is that the IIS connects to the SQL server, and this one has its own rights and this has its own permissions, and this one has to log in with integrated security on that one. So you have, and in the default it goes by the what did it say on network authority? Yeah, network service. So when you expand this one on the specific database, then then it should go and it should work.